Thank you, Mr. President. Our theme for today, the best things in life. And most of us know, or all of us know, that the best things in life are really not things. And I learned this past Wednesday. I learned this when in the middle of reading our mission statement at my club, Black Talk Toastmasters, my Spectrum internet went down completely, total outage. Yep. The universe, by way of Spectrum, was getting ready to teach me once again that the best things in life are not things, and that it's always made a way for those who know this. How? 34 people were looking to the president, that would be me, to open the meeting and introduce our TMOD, our Toastmaster of the Day. Well, the universe had other ideas. We had planned the perfect meeting with our VP of Education, our Zoom Master, and our Sergeant at Arms. All functionaries and speakers were in place, and we had a hot topic to talk about. Is the American flag alive? Jack was there. I don't see Jack right now, but Jack was there. My internet went down, no service on my desktop, no service on my phone, and none on my laptop. But not to be deterred, I decided to run out of my house with my laptop to the nearest Starbucks. I said, I can hook up into this Wi-Fi, right? Sounds like a great plan. Wrong. I get to Starbucks and their Wi-Fi is sketchy at best, non-functional at worst. However, in the corner of Starbucks, there sat my earth angel in the form of a big, handsome Black man who just happened to have a hotspot. And as he saw my desperation, I'm sure it was all over my face, he said, "Hey, sister, do you need some help?" I told him I was to be in my Zoom meeting and my provider, Spectrum, was having an outage and it wouldn't be back on for several hours. He said, "Well, I have this hotspot and never use Starbucks because their service is so unreliable." Well, he said he only had 9% left on his battery, but that I could have it. He said, "Let me put my passcode in that laptop of yours and let's see if we can get you going." Well, needless to say, it took about 45 minutes to get my laptop going, and I was finally able to get back into our Black Talk Toastmasters meeting before the meeting ended. The second lesson was the meeting had proceeded well without me. I was grateful for a team that had the ability to carry on without me, but my little ego really wanted to know they needed me, but things had went well. I learned humility and gratitude is essential to living my best life. In other words, it is all about me, but it's not really about me. As a matter of fact, people stayed on the call long after the meeting was over. Well, the moral of this story, the best things in life are people you can count on, especially in a crisis. The best things in life is always knowing the universe will make a way regardless of the circumstances. And the best things in life is knowing that even if it takes a complete stranger to help you out, they will. And I also found out that it don't hurt to have a hotspot handy. Anyway, now for our meeting. And I'm going to bring to our virtual stage the princess, the general evaluator, Shantae Marie Howard.
Thank you, Muriel. We're going to have to work on the princess thing. I don't know if I'm continuing to like it, but I also did not prepare a monologue. I am sorry, but no, just joking. Hi, everybody. Good morning and happy Friday. I am excited to be here and I'm excited to be your general evaluator. As general evaluator, my job has already started. I have the utmost pleasure of evaluating the entire meeting of all the people whose roles are not already being evaluated. And I will come back later and give my very detailed report in also bring up my team. So I'm going to turn it back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Oh, my turn. All righty. Did you want to introduce your functionaries at this time?
I absolutely can. Not a problem.
Okay.
I would
cool.
love to bring up our timers today, who will be introducing their roles and their duties. So please welcome guest David Kitchen.
All right. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator and Master Evaluators. I'm Dave Kitchen. I will be your timer today as we will practice our time management. I believe we have prepared speeches, table topics, and evaluations. It's my first time here.
And welcome.
Fantastic. We have 3 speakers according to the agenda. Will the speeches be 5 to 7 minutes?
Yes.
Fantastic. So you will see as a timer, I will appear in this fashion. At 5 minutes, you'll see a green light. At 6 minutes, you'll see a amber or yellow. And at 7 minutes, you will see the red, which means you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. And you do not want to see that. Some clubs use that. We realize that it might appear a little offensive. I won't use it tonight, but you get the picture. For table topics, 1 to 2 minutes, you'll see the green at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5, red at 2, 30 seconds to wrap it up. And for the evaluators, 2 to 3 minutes, 2 minutes green, 2 minutes yellow, 3 minutes red with 30 seconds to wrap it up. That concludes my explanation. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that great explanation of your role. Next up, we have our counter, who is going to come to the stage and introduce their role.
That would be Vincent.
Vincent, sorry, I couldn't find it. Our counter grammarian, Vincent. Oh, we can't hear you, Vincent.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud and clear from
Good.
Spain.
Well, no, not from Spain. I am in Portugal, slightly to the west. So good evening or good morning to you. I will be your counter, filler word counter, and also your grammarian. Why do we use filler words? Because we speak faster than we can think. And therefore, we use as and ums, and I would like you to slow down.
They have a business. That's basically.
Would you mind switching your microphones off while you are not on stage? Thank you. Number 2, as your grammarian, I will be looking at use of language, and I always like to look at use of positive language, using rhetorical devices. And I would like you tonight, for me, or this morning for you, to use something which is called alliterations. And there tend to be 2 or 3 words which sound very similar in the same sentence. For instance, the Wicked Witch of the West, or I am now in a holiday beach resort in Portugal, and the British tourists who come here, they come here for sun, sex, and sand. So try to use alliterations if you can. And there's a third ingredient to our meeting tonight, and that is bliss. Imagine you're sitting on this beach, you're looking at the sea. Could there be anything more beautiful than being utterly happy, being full of bliss? And bliss is exactly that. It is unlimited happiness. And let's enjoy this meeting tonight with utter bliss. Back to you, Shabazz.
Okay, and we have an incredible Zoom master who I failed to introduce. Vicky Shabazz, would you like to talk about your role?
Moi, a legend in my own mind. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My role is a simple one. First of all, as co-founder of this club, it is always my joy to be here. And being your Zoom master means I will continue to put messages in for all of our guests. We'll give you a time. Our president will ask your thoughts at the end, but do please sign our guest book. For our members, please do rename yourself if you haven't, if you have a role, if you're a speaker or an evaluator, etc. And just know that my job is to keep us from going off camera so that I don't have to go to a Starbucks and find a handsome Black man to let me use his hotspot. Because at this age, I don't know what I'd do if that's where I had to end up. So everyone, my joy to be your Zoom master today, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, Vicky, I'm glad that you're not one of those people that would be clutching your pearls if you saw a Black man.
I clutched my pearls Saturday, but it wasn't because of that. I do see when I see a handsome man, regardless, I will clutch him. So
Okay. Just wanted to throw that in, practicing for my stand-up later in the year. Anyway, our second presenter, which is now our first presenter, is the indomitable and accomplished Toastmaster International Speak Contest winner, Pat Caslin. Yes, Masters of Evaluation has a strong roster of international speech contestants and winners. Pat Caslin has been a prolific speaker for most of the last 4 years.
Received another notice today from the waste management.
Please mute. Who is that?
as Zoom master, I muted her. So keep going.
Okay, great. Thank you. And from what I know about Pat, during that quiet time, he was playing lots of the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, and Chain of Fools. Now that he is out of hiatus, we look forward to hearing from him again. Today, distinguished Toastmaster Pat Caslin is speaking from Pathways Persuasive Influence Path, Level 1, Writing a Speech with Purpose, 5 to 7 minutes. His speech title is Full Circle. Please welcome to Masters of Evaluation virtual stage, international speech winner, distinguished Toastmaster Pat Caslin.
Can I ask David, please, to put up a hand so that he appears in the top left-hand corner so I can see it? That'll be great. Thank you. In the Christian tradition, on the days of Adam and Eve, curiosity was something that was induced wretchedness. Adam ate the apple, which was the font of all knowledge, and became wretched and got thrown out of the value of eternal life as a result of that. And that continued all through the Middle Ages, and it continued up to a point at which education became something that was generally available to everybody. Education was a way out of poverty. It was a way to empower the masses. It was a way to enlighten people and help them to think in a way that lifted them up and allowed them to participate fully in society, that helped them to think, that gave them autonomy, and that gave them the ability to function independently all through life. And when I look at education now, I wonder, does it still achieve that? Or have we gone back to that point of nearly full circle where education is no longer something that will take you out of wretchedness? And are we at a point at which we are nearly blinded by the value that others have? Have we stopped to thinking for ourselves? Have we stopped to really understand how to think? And does our education system support that? To be educated is really to understand what we don't know. It's not to learn things by rote, which is what our education system, our so-called education system, does now. It teaches us rote learning. It doesn't teach us to ask good questions. It takes the natural curiosity of 2 to 5-year-olds, of young children, and it dehydrates that in the oven of standardized testing. And it does that because the system itself wishes to understand how it is in comparison with other flawed systems of education around the world. Systems that take standardized tests and make these the bedrock on which the entire education system is built. Standardized tests measure only that which lends itself to measurement. They don't measure your ability to think. They don't measure your ability to ask questions. And in the delivery of the preparation for these tests, actually, you're not allowed the time to think. You're not allowed the time to be curious, because the lockstep delivery of the syllabus dictates that you can't take time to be curious, to ask questions, to try and really understand. You can't take time to follow your instincts. You can't take time to diverge from the preset course and to get interested in things that genuinely you have a passion for. And this leads to a monolithic way of thinking, a view of education as the acquisition of knowledge, an inability to really think deeply, to direct your own learning, to be curious, and to follow answers and to formulate your questions and to follow those questions to the point at which you get answers for them. It doesn't prepare you for life, because life is not about having the answers. Life is about asking the right questions. We should judge people by the questions they ask and not by the answers they give. But we're not taught that that is what it is to be educated. To be educated in our society is to have knowledge, is to have qualifications. That's not to be educated. To be educated is to understand the things that we don't know, to recognize that there are things beyond our comprehension that we should learn, that we should at least acknowledge, to be aware of different cultures, to be curious about things that might benefit us, to have learned how to cooperate with other people in developing solutions that are good for our society. Instead, success is measured by the dollars in our bank, by the quality of the car that we drive, by the success that we can show externally to people. It's not measured by the contributions that we make to society. It's not measured by the extent to which a vast majority of the population are capable of living independently, are capable of autonomous lives. So I question our education system. I question the approach to it. And I think we need to reconsider it, and reconsider it very, very soon, because we're not doing anything different than we really did 200 years ago. We dress it up differently, we make it look differently, but it isn't really that different. It should be more self-directed. It should allow for curiosity. It should allow for autonomy. It should allow for group work. It should allow and encourage problem solving, because if we think that we can absorb facts and regurgitate them and actually be capable of thinking independently and solving problems for ourselves, or even identifying the problems that we need to solve, our entire system is based on a fallacy. So I do think we may have come or are going full circle in getting back to a point at which curiosity is to be discouraged. And I'm concerned about that. And it's something that I think we should think more deeply about and act on. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow, Pat, that was great. So time up, may we have 90.
This meeting is being recorded.
Time.
All right. Thank you, David Kitchen. Now for our next speaker, I'm going to bring to our virtual stage Judith Ferber, who will be the evaluator, Sharon Giles. Judith?
Here, let me see my evaluation form. And here we are. So Sharon's evaluation is understanding your communication styles. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. Our next superb speaker is Sharon Giles. This year, 2023, Sharon will mark her 20th year with Toastmasters International. Wow, 2 decades. That deserves a round of applause. Wow. Sharon wants us to know that she is pleased and humbly proud to be a Toastmaster. And during those 20 years, she started not 1, not 2, but 3 Toastmaster clubs. And she has supported and mentored numerous clubs and its members in 3 districts, District 30, District 54, and District 103. Sharon earned the Distinguished Toastmaster Award, which is the highest level of educational achievement in Toastmasters. She was awarded her DTM in 2007. Sharon has also been the recipient of many other awards, trophies, and plaques. Today, as Judith has said, Sharon will speak on the importance of testing and why the lack of testing can be potentially harmful to you and to those around you. Yes, even in the Zoom world. Her presentation is from Pathways Path Motivational Strategies, Level 2, Understanding Your Communication Style, a 5 to 7 minute speech entitled Sticks and Stones. Please welcome to Masters of Evaluation virtual platform, Distinguished Toastmaster, Sharon Giles. Sharon?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am wearing this mask because I know many of you have not been tested. Get tested. It's a simple test. It will be beneficial to not only you, but those around you. I've taken this test many times, and it's ironic. My results have always been the same. As humans, engaging in communication is one of our most important activities. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet. Those 26 letters can put together a message that will help, that will heal. But those 26 letters put incorrectly can be more powerful than an assault weapon. Fellow Toastmasters, guess. Toastmasters is very, very dedicated to communication, and they have put understanding your communication style not one, not two, but 5 paths. So if you're going to complete pathways, you will have to go through understanding your communication style. You see, because what you say and how you say it today, speaking in a Toastmaster setting, will not necessarily be the same style that you'll use when you're talking at your child's 5th grade class, or even at home around the family table. The communication style changes. The way I talk to my ESL students, I teach reading, part of the literacy program here and where I live. When I teach their students, their children, the alphabets, it's different on how I speak to the parent. So Toastmasters has taken this all the way up. This is a direct quote from the Toastmasters website. It's a short style history. The concept of communication styles has been around for a long time. In 1928, the American psychologist William Marston published a book entitled Emotions of Normal People. It's a book that describes the 4 primary behavioral styles: dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. So what they're saying here is that the way we speak has a lot to do with our behavior. And once I took the test, I can certainly agree with that. Remember, no communication style is better than another. You may speak one way, like I said, to some groups, but you'll speak differently to another. I took the test. The results came in. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm just going to give you the good part. I am an analytical, initiating, direct, supportive communicator. Yes, it was surprising to me. I thought I would be more supporting than anything, but that was down at the bottom. So what does that mean? That means that I'm fun-loving. It means that I'm not fluff. I want details. I want to get to the point. I want to have accomplishments. Don't stretch it out. Don't stretch it out. Give me details and tell me why. Everything must be in order. That's my speaking style. But yes, when I speak to my great-grandchildren, the style is different. When you speak to younger people, your style may be different. When you stand in front of a group, maybe at your church, or those of you who are still employed at your employment, your style will be different. And that's what Toastmasters want you to understand. So I say, take the test. Take the test. Take the test. Let me give you some questions that's on the test. They want to know your personality. If you are asked, what would you like to be seen as? Sociable, decisive, cautious, or patient? When it comes to sharing feelings with others, are you reserved? Are you private, symptomatic, self-assured? Well, how would others describe you? Gentle, fun-loving, disciplined, results-oriented. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, like I said, I'm analytical, I'm initiating, I'm directive, and I am supportive. I also said, I'm going to just give you the good parts. Analytical. I scored 8 in analytical. Yes, that surprised me. I'm task-oriented. I'm organized. I'm self-reliant. One thing that didn't surprise me, I am purposeful and I am very diplomatic. Ask my minister. In Jesus' name. Initiating. This style is sociable, enthusiastic, energetic, spontaneous. I was a little iffy about that. Fun-loving. Oh yeah, that's me. Direct and supportive. 1-1. Competitive, yes. Being the youngest of 5, I had to be competitive. Independent and confident. And being married to Mr. Giles, I also had to be competitive. Again, take the test. You will be surprised to find out your speaking as well as your behavioral style. Toastmasters wants you to pass the test. Okay, I will take off my mask and I will step back from my screen because I know the germs are still in the air. Madam Toastmaster.
And as our timer
This meeting is being recorded.
previously stated, you have 1 to 2 minutes to answer your questions. And our theme today puts me in the mood to ask you questions regarding life and the best things in your life. The best things in my life, I would say, I would agree, are free. I hope you will express what the best things in your life are through the various questions that you will be asked. My first question is, what value in life can you place a price tag on? What value in your life can you place a price tag on? And that question will go.
Mary, are you muted? Mary, you're muted. I see her mouth moving.
Did you hear my question?
We heard the question, but we didn't hear the name. You just...
I said April.
April. Wonderful.
Here I am. Thank you for clarifying, Mary. I wasn't sure it was me. But I am certain to tell you that I understand in my life treasure. And often it comes in terms of friendships. I treasure my friends, absolutely. I also can tell you, Mary, that I appreciate getting up in the morning because each morning is a fresh day. Whether or not I slept well, it's a fresh day. It's a new gig. I can be myself. I can be ready to be kind to other people. As Muriel would point out, that is the way to go. It's also a treasure, having the smarts to be able to open doors for others. And then so many ways we can do that. Absolutely be very tangible. And otherwise, maybe a suggestion is offered. but the treasuring of life, really valuing what the friendships bring, what the sunshine or rain is going to bring. These are things that are priceless, treasured, priceless effects. And we all have them available to us if only we quiet down, take a breath, and realize. And I thank you, Mary Pryor, for that good question.
Thank you, April, for such an in-depth, thoughtful response. Tell us about the three riches in your life. The three free riches in your life. Judith.
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. I think the three important things in my life, I guess, what this question is, as April said, is friendship is certainly one of them. I actually don't know what the three riches in my life. I think friendship certainly is one of them. The important part of my life is to be able to be responsive to people, to things, to be there, to have be in the world, I guess. Take care of my health is one of the important part. And I think that my main important thing is to keep my friends abroad or here or in my profession. That is an important thing. And my cat is my important part of my life. And that is, that's all I can say about this question. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Judith. Researchers say that 47% of our time is spent daydreaming. After daydreaming about your perfect day, tell us what that looks like. Tell us what your daydream looks like. Your best day. Vincent.
Daydreaming. Now, that is a challenge. How often do we close our eyes and just dream away, or our minds just wander about without even us realizing? And us as public speakers, we have to learn how to engage our audience so that they don't wander off daydreaming while you try to tell them something of importance. And now, what do I dream about? To be honest, very much as the dreams I have at night, I remember that I dreamt, but I don't remember what I dreamt about. And I think that is the essence of our dreams, that they are somehow part of our unconsciousness, that they're part of a superior feeling of bliss, where we are unlimited to corsets, to limitations, where we can dream, where we can escape our realities. A blissful world without limitations. These are my daydreams, Mrs. Tabletop Pitmaster.
Thank you so much, Vincent. My next question is, what are the free assets in your life? What are the free assets in your life? And this goes to Scott Oliver.
Fellow Toastmasters, I presume that stealing somebody else's Wi-Fi signal isn't really free. There must be a cost to it. But the free things in my life that really do matter, the bliss that I have comes from the opportunity to sit with my wife and each of us scribble away on the Sunday morning New York Times crossword, just quietly drinking our coffee. Of course, the competitive spirit in me wants to finish before she does without having to look anything up. Inevitably, that ends the bliss of the morning, and we have to move on with the balance of our day. Still, I enjoy very much the quiet time where we sit together, my wife and I, and our dog. She is a joy to believe. She jumps and runs and barks at people as they run past the fence, and she couldn't hurt a fly. She'll lick them to death. Wasn't free to begin with, but the joy she brings every day is. The time I get to spend with my granddaughter, who just came into the planet, is joyful for me. Again, not free. There are costs to all of those things, I suppose. But the moments, the chance to settle down and just listen to her heartbeat, because she doesn't talk yet. Listen to her heartbeat on my chest as I hold her close. Those would be the things I would think are the treasures for me. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Scott. You have beautiful assets in your life. What is your secret weapon in time of stress? How do you relax and de-stress? John White.
Thank you for that question. How do I cope in my times of stress? I drink excessively. I numb myself. I watch TV that doesn't have any redemptive value whatsoever. I was so bad the other day, I drank domestic beer and watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That's how bad I was. It was the equivalent of sort of a suicidal watch. All my life, Mary, as you know, I ran away from the pain. I'm embracing it, damn it. And I'm doing it with a Coors Light, because I want to watch my calories, because I want my longevity. And Kim Kardashian. Anyway, that's a joke, obviously. Yeah, I think I've been around long enough to say this too shall pass, and that life has seasons to it. And whatever the challenges are, the moment, it's always worked itself out. What's that famous saying, Scott? Things always work out in the end. So if it hasn't worked itself out, it's not the end. So there's something to that. So I am in that delicate balance of not trying to overreact, but still recognizing the difficulty. And for the record, I've never watched the Kardashians. I am not a supporter of them. I've not watched any of the Housewives. I do drink, but I try to drink the good stuff that Pat would be impressed by. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, John, for sharing. Happiness is satisfying because. Happiness is satisfying because. And that question goes to Harold G.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, for that question. The question is, happiness is satisfying to me because, well, happiness is satisfying to me as the previous speakers mentioned. You want to have friendships, you're social, You want to have curiosity. I like reading books, magazines. Since we've been off, I found myself subscribing to a bunch of different magazines. History from England, archaeology, military history. All of that is fascinating. I can spend hours looking at that. Of course, you want to have other opportunities to help others. Make a humble donation to a worthy cause. It makes me feel so much better to do that. Also, I like to have friends. I like to have good food. I like to go on trips. I like to do something of interest. I like to broaden myself. Oh, there's also Toastmasters. We can have, I'm a member of a club. It's so competitive that if you win, you feel exhilarated. I mean, they know how to speak and evaluate with skill. Madam Table Topics Master, thank you for asking that question. I meditate also, and I also exercise. I find exercise, by the time I go to bed at night, I'm half dead because I exercise. And that's a form of happiness. But the real thing, real enjoyment in life, of course, are relationships and trying to build relationships. And one thing that made me very happy this week, I donated my car, an old car I had, and then my insurance company called me and said, someone had an accident, but you did not transfer your insurance and we want you to pay. I called back and they said, oh, we made a mistake. You do not have to pay. I was exhilarated. Oh, goodness, I was so happy. So, Madam Table Topics, thank you for asking that question. There is real happiness in life. It's not mystical, and I'm not delusional, and I'm not in denial about it. I am going to seek happiness, just like our Constitution says, pursuit of happiness. I've been pursuing it a long time, and one day, before I stop breathing, I'm pretty sure I'll find true, deep down happiness. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Harold, for your exhilarating answer of what happiness is to you. The Beatles hit song back in the 60s said, all you need is love. Describe your feelings of that particular song. All you need is love, Sandra Savage.
You know, I grew up wanting to be Spock, so this question is going to be difficult for me, and yet I am surrounded by so many loving people. And I know that I have them to call upon when things aren't going so well, when I'm not having a good day, when I'm not feeling the love. I also like to write and let my emotions out on paper rather than to verbalize them often, which is surprising because I talk all the time. For me, love is being comfortable with the one you're with. And that means that you have an open mind as well as an open heart about yourself first, because if you don't love yourself, you're not much good to anyone. But love with the person you're with and being able to understand and interact with them in a way that shows that you really care. Now, the Beatles came along a little bit before me, but I do like the song, I Want to Hold Your Hand. So I'd rather go out with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. My last question is, when you think in terms of all the free things in life, what is the most important to you? When you think of all the free things in life, what is the most important to you? Vicky.
Mary, I'm going to pass because I'm Zoom master and I'm keeping track of the poll. May I nominate Jessica?
Oh, okay.
Do you mind if I nominate Jesper? He was here for our last meeting and I love his wisdom.
That's fine.
Sorry, Jesper.
That's fine.
Thank you, Table Topic.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Thank you, Table Topics Master Mary. The best thing free. I was reflecting on what Pat mentioned in his speech this morning, and there was something that really resonated with me. Life is not about finding the right answers. Life is about asking the right questions. And I believe that brings a sense of bliss. For me, the best free thing are the opportunities to learn. Every day I'm reading books. Yes, books do have a cost, but on the other hand, you can get books from libraries where that is free. When I go to the library, I can look at business books, self-improvement, various topics, cooking, variety, but those opportunities to learn. Other free opportunities to learn are when you spend time with other people. Different people have different life experiences, different topics, different mindsets, different perspectives. There's so much to learn when you spend time with other people. And the third thing, for free opportunities to learn and the best free things in life, those opportunities you spend with family, the people, and not just people around you, but pets. My dog brings a source of bliss. Spend time with my dog because whether you're going out for a walk, staying inside, dogs just bring that sense of love. And as one of the questions mentioned earlier, all you need is love, because that brings a sense of bliss. Table Topics to Mary, thank you for the question.
Oh, thank you for your insightful answer.
Thank you so
and
much.
I will leave you with seven riches of free things in our lives that enrich our lives. And they are hugs, friends and family, smiles, sleep, laughter, happy memories, and love, the most important. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Mary Pryor. Well done. Thank you, each participant. And now, six-time distinguished Toastmaster David Kitchen, will you please give us your timing report on our table topics participants so we can have our Zoom master launch the poll for best table topic speaker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, hopefully without great controversy. I had a blissful time documenting the timing for all of our table topics. April, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Judith, 1 minute, 35 seconds. Vincent, 1 minute, 35 seconds. Scott, we have a theme here. 1 minute, 35 seconds. John broke the tie. 1 minute, 26 seconds. Harold G, good to see you, sir. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I was enthralled. Sandra, 1 minute and 14 seconds. And Jesper, 1 minute, 51 seconds. With great bliss, that is my report.
Please vote if you can see the poll, and I will close it as soon. We've got 23 people able to vote, so I'm looking to see how many we can get. Please feel free to vote. Just your choice as best table topics speaker. I'll let you know, Madam Toastmaster, when I'm closing the poll.
Okay.
Got 14, so lots of people. The vote's out. Everybody's getting a vote too, so please do vote.
Vic, I see your lips moving. Are you talking?
I am, to my beloved. So
Fair enough. Sorry.
no worries. I thought I was pretty smart, but not that smart, obviously. All right, I'm going to close the poll. Thank you very much.
All right. And so now we bring back to Masters of Evaluation virtual stage, Princess Shantae Marie Howard.
Thank you, Muriel. You are always full of bliss. I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now it is our evaluation portion of the meeting, and I am extremely excited to welcome our first evaluator to the virtual lectern, David Ryan, who will be evaluating our first speaker. David, you are up.
I'm afraid I need to pass this week, Shantae, because Rumbi wasn't able to attend, so isn't able to log in because of the connection issues. So I'll be skipping my evaluation this week.
Okay, no worries. You are right. So now, sorry, I was looking at the agenda. So now then I will bring up evaluator number 2, who will be evaluating Pat Caslin, and evaluator 2 is... I don't see who evaluator number 2 is. So evaluator number 2, please come to the virtual lectern.
It's Harold G.
Is it Harold? Harold G?
Oh,
thank you.
Okay, I'm here. Harold G. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest. We've heard a wonderful, skillful speech by Pat Caslin. Now, he's a champion speaker. What he has done is not unusual. Title of the speech is Full Circle. And he addressed an issue that has affected all of us. A thoughtful presentation. The title itself is intriguing. It gets your attention. Full Circle. He talks about his introduction. He talks about education. What do we know about education? How it affects us? But one thing that's very noticeable about Pat Caslin, he has a very gentle, distinguished conversational style that's easily to understand. Every word is pronounced clearly. He goes into pointing out using distinctive words that we can understand how education has become a pressure cooker with ideas, not new ideas, but the same ideas used over and over again, and it's supposed to crank out people who want to have those ideas. He does that, and his argument is logical, it's sensible, it's reasonable. He gives a full body in his speech about education. What I would suggest that would make it interesting and a little bit more dramatic, interject himself, give an idea what he has experienced, and say, in my course of taking courses in college, what I found, what I was disappointed in, was that it overlooked various genuine passions students have. He went on to point out how education today is formalistic. It's just a formula. And it's just use the same formula. If you look at education in the Greeks, ancient history, there's still a teacher and a student, and the same general idea is there. I love the idea he addressed a controversial, contemporary, vital issue that has impact on us all. We all go to the public schools, we go to colleges, and we come out with a general idea. And as citizens, we are given a certain idea about how we should behave and how we should think. I would also want one thing and I enjoyed his speech, by the way, make a recommendation how you should read on your own and think on your own. That would broaden your education and make a point of deepening and broadening yourself. He was a wonderful speaker. I enjoyed hearing him speak, and I can understand him, and he would be a great professional speaker. Fellow Toastmasters, you've heard a speech with a wonderful introduction. It had a body that expanded the idea. It had a conclusion. It came full circle about questions about education. Most enjoyable speech, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Carol, for that blissful evaluation. Next up, we have Judith, who is going to be evaluating our final speaker. Judith, you're up.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and Sharon. Sharon's speech was Stick and Stones. And what we learned that I liked about your speech is testing. I think it should have been titled Get Tested. Anyway, I like the idea that, there are many things I liked. I liked the alphabet. I thought it was interesting saying that how you put the letters together, it will learn what you are saying and how you are saying. I also, we have also learned about the various communication styles. It's important how we speak to each other, and the way we speak, it determines what our communication style is. We also learned that Toastmaster International does a lot of this. Every single path has this communication style, and I myself have given about 3 speeches, I think, on this. And taking the test. So we also learned that you have taken all the tests and you are an analytical person, and that is your style and how you are using them or it in your life, and how differently we speak to other people, children, and various peoples in our lives, and communication is like that. So I was a little bit puzzled about the title of the speech, because we all know this saying, the stick and stones may break your bones, and words never hurt me, which I never actually quite agreed, because words do actually hurt people a great deal. And so communication, so we have to learn how to communicate. Now, I have a suggestion to this speech to make this a little bit more personal, because we know about Toastmasters and a communication style. But I think in our lifetime, we do change our communication styles. In our different ages, depends our relationship to other people, what we do at work. And it would have been interesting to me if you spoke about this. Has your communication styles changed? Did you realize something 25 years ago that something didn't work, and your relationship to other people has changed? So just to make this a little bit more personal. Also, the thing is that you need to look into the camera. I think you have you may be reading your speech. That makes it a little bit different. But in any case, I think it was a great speech, and we learned a lot from you, about you, and thank you for your speech.
Thank you so much, Judith, for that blissful evaluation. Next up is going to be our table topics evaluator, who is going to be John White. John, you are up.
Thank you very much. Let me look you straight in the eye, Masters of Evaluation, and say I am in bliss taking on this role as I am lying to you. Thank you for that. Can I just say, it was a little off today. I like Mary's color coordinated. She was beautiful dress, coordinated with the background. She tied into the theme of the day from Muriel. And Muriel's theme was the best things in life really are free, right? But no, it's not things. So it's like the other foot never dropped. And it led to questions that tied to that theme, but which I found confusing, if I'm just going to be honest. So I had some questions about what value on life place a price tag on. That was a confusing question to me. The second question, was it 3 or free riches? And then the question about happiness is satisfying because I've never heard a question about trying to sell happiness. I've always heard about how does one become happy. So I found myself sort of discombobulated in trying to figure out what the question was and the best way to answer the question or what it was trying to get at, if that makes sense. So beyond that, I thought there was some muting and unmuting issues, so it was hard to get the questions and to hear it. As far as the responses, we heard, April, you took a confusing question and you struck it in terms of treasure. That was that you can't put a price tag on. You decided to jump into treasure, and I thought that was great. And then you talked about friendship, a common theme for everyone. It was friendship. So, and then you broadened the response to a beautiful day and being in the moment. So that was a general pattern. Try to answer the question if you could, and then at the end, seemingly you didn't think you were going to make time, and you sort of broadened and diluted it at the end. So that was the pattern. Judith, I love your honesty. I mean, sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes you make a joke like I tried to, which wasn't funny. Others are, I don't have 3. The only thing I might have done, Judith, is start with the friendship, go all in, and maybe the other 2 will come, or perhaps just answer the one. It'll be so compelling, we won't forget the other 2 that you didn't touch on. Let me see what other ones. Vincent, about the perfect day. When you aren't, 47% of your time is daydreaming, and when you're not daydreaming, what's the perfect day? It's something like that. And you said that's a challenge. You recognize the struggle. And then what I always love about you, Vincent, is the childlike wonder and the enthusiasm and just excitement to be at MoE and to deal with this difficult question. So I love that. And then you finally wrapped it up. You closed well. You had the strongest closing, in my opinion. Finally, a world without limitation. John White, he struggled. Harold G., you said relationship and relationship building, and you talked about a curious mind. You meditate, you exercise. You really answered the question, Harold, what's your secret to happiness? And that's what you answered at the end. Sandra, I thought there was a very tender, honest moment when you said all you need is love. It was love is being comfortable with the one you're around, including yourself. Jesper, not enough time to say all the good things you did, but welcome. Please join the group. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator. I will refrain from calling you princess. How about goddess?
I am blissful that you are refraining. Thank you. Next up is going to be our odd counter grammarian for his report. Vincent, you are up.
Thank you. What a blissful evening indeed. We had a lot of members using it. John, Muriel, Vincent, Scott, Sean, Harold. Harold, you said happiness, happiness, happiness a number of times. You could have used bliss. Jasper used it 3 times. David Kitchen twice. Filler words. We've been very good at thinking and not talking too fast. April, John, and Jasper should at least keep an eye on filler words. And Judith, you should be very conscious of using filler words, please. And Sandra, you started your speech with you know, and that is a filler word as well. But talking about positive things, a legend in my own mind, using an apple as a metaphor for curiosity. Dehydrated standard of educational systems, monolithic way of thinking. Well, doesn't that sound just brilliant? Being humbly proud what the rain is going to bring, balancing the day, redemptive value in education is a pressure cooker. These were some terms I heard today, and I really enjoy it because I love language, and I am here to listen to you people, which is called attentive listening. And that is what I've learned at Toastmasters, to be an attentive listener. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe we've already had all of our timer reports, right? Or do we go again for a timer?
We just need all the evaluators had 2 to 3 minutes, except our grammarian who had 1 to 2, and you have 2 to 3. So when you are done, David will give us the results, and then I will launch the poll for best evaluator for today.
All right, I like that. So then in that case, I will give my lovely report on today's meeting. So Masters of Evaluation, you guys know how I do. I love to have a little bit of fun, but we started on time. Our mission was read and our club rules were explained by the lovely Sergeant at Arms. Our president introduced our theme for today, which is the best things in life are not things, but they are people you can count on. The universe will always make a way. And even if it comes from a stranger, I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that, you will get help. So that was the theme of the day. Muriel Shabazz was our fantastic Toastmaster. Muriel, you were inspirational. You had absolutely great energy. The only feedback I'm going to keep hounding you about is your lighting, my dear, because we want to see your beautiful face. Table Topics Master was Mary Pryor. John already gave her a great evaluation, but I will just add that she explained the role. She did ask thought-provoking questions. Mary, the feedback I have for you is to start with the people that are not on the agenda. And then if you have more time, then you can work around to the people that already have roles so that everybody has a speaking role today. We had evaluator number 2. I did delete evaluator number 1. Thank you, Paul. Harold G., you are an absolutely great and blissful evaluator. You did a great recap. The only feedback I have for you is to give the speaker an action item, a direct action item of something that they can work on. Evaluator number 3 was Judith Ferber. Judith, you gave a great recap of the speech. I thought you used absolute great hand gestures, and I'm actually going to give you the same feedback that I gave Harold, is to please give the speaker an action item that they can work on. Table Topics Evaluator, John, you gave great feedback. The only thing I'm going to say is to start with something positive. We don't need to know that you wouldn't really want to do Table Topics Master. Just, start with the good, make it like a sandwich, good, bad, good. You get the gist. All right, timer, David Kitchen, thank you for coming in and being our blissful timer. You had great backgrounds. You raised your hand to make yourself more visible. The only feedback I have is sometimes, people can tend to be a bit verbose. So maybe having some type of a signal so that people know that they're going over, maybe have like a flashing light or maybe something that you can use to alter your background to signal that we're going over. Counter report was done by Vincent. Vincent, you gave a great feedback. I absolutely love your energy, and you gave an absolutely great report. The only feedback I have is to put the word of the day in the chat at the beginning, just in case some of us are a little bit forgetful and forget about what it is. I'm your general evaluator. I'm going to evaluate myself. I explained the role. I introduced my team. Great presentation, right? Good. Final thoughts for everybody. Don't forget to turn back control to whoever is the functionary. We sometimes forget to turn it back to the Toastmaster table, topics, etc. The time keeps rolling until you turn it back. And then where is your banner, Masters of Evaluation? We definitely can post it up in somebody's background because we should always have our banner. Thank you so much. I now turn control over to the timer for our time reports.
Woo! Okay, I'm here. What a heck of a presentation. I was so immersed in all the feedback, my goodness. As your timer, all the evaluators, boy, I tell you, there was a lot of bliss going on with the evaluations. Let's see. Harold G, fantastic evaluation. Great job. 3 minutes, 47 seconds. Yes, we were giving a lot of information. Loquacious, I would say sometimes. Judith, 3 minutes and 24 seconds. You got in there, turned it off. So those were the speakers' evaluations. For table topics evaluator, let me turn this off. John, thank you. You two shared great bliss with your evaluation. 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Our grammarian, wonderful report. It surprised me that you would time the grammarian, but it's okay. It came in about 1 minute and 45 seconds. I enjoyed the report. I lost track a bit. And Shantae, great presentation. You should give Pathways credit for that. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator, or Madam
Mr. Timer, what did you say, Harold? Harold had until 3:30 to qualify to be voted best evaluator. What was his time for Harold?
Harold G came in at 3:47.
Oh, sorry, Harold. I'm a tough grader.
I'm sorry. You guys have to warn me about the accuracy or not being accurate.
Yeah.